Hey, what's going on, everybody? Today I'm going to talk about Bitcoin. If you haven't already, check out the last video I did today. It was a Theta video. I did include some Bitcoin in there, but definitely watch that Theta video that I put out today. I did put out two yesterday, just going over the weekly close, but the one I put out today actually is going into more detail of what's to come. But not just Theta, but all the other alts as well. Not that I mentioned the alts, but at the same time, if Theta is charging up and looking at the detail in that, then you got to know that the other alts are in that same sort of category. But we're going to talk about Bitcoin. We're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. And we're going to say that for me, I think Bitcoin has a potential moment where it's going to top out. Now, there is some ideas where it doesn't, and we're going to talk about that. So let's start. Let's start with the bearish and get that out of the way, and then we'll move on from there. But remember, any bullish or bearish idea I talk about with Bitcoin, it doesn't matter for the alts, because if Bitcoin were to be bearish, then that means it needs to come down, right? And then that means it would come back up, come down, come up, and then come down. It needs to have some consolidation. If that consolidation occurs, then that gives the altcoins, because that's why we're all here. That's why I'm here. I'm not here for Bitcoin. I'm here for the altcoins. But I'm talking about Bitcoin because it's the roadmap to the alts. So we want to see either Bitcoin do something like this, right? Chop around in here. That chopping around allows the alts to catch up. Many examples, right? The example that I had before was Theta, and you can just see, right? Theta's on the bottom, and then Bitcoin goes up, right? And now once and if Bitcoin does this chopping around, that's when we can see Theta catch up. Exactly like what happened over here. You can see, clear as day, Bitcoin's moving up while Theta is flat. It continues to move up, pumps up a little bit, but then once it tops out and goes down, up, down, up, down, up, chops around, that's when it shoots up like a rocket ship. So that's what I think could potentially happen here. Not talking about a new all-time high. What I'm saying is for Theta and other alts, right? Just using Theta as an example, to reach a retracement level, right? Like Chainlink has done, the total 3, right? So we want to see that go up. And the way Theta goes up is when we get this Bitcoin consolidation. So we'll take everything off the screen. We'll talk about Bitcoin. So how's that going to look? So first of all, this can be, in my opinion, right, a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, breakout. So basically, to me, it would be an A, B, and a C, right? So let's do some work on this wave here and figure out, what's happening here. So let's start from here. So we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that's fair, right? And then this is a corrective wave. So we have another one here. 1, 2, all of that's 3. And I talked about this being a flat in here, and that's exactly what it was. That's crazy. So, and then we have that 5th wave. Let's talk about that flat. So back when Bitcoin was over here, I had a video out. I said, be cautious. The reason why is because we pumped up, but then we chopped up. Anytime you chop and you break the top, that's a sign that it's probably a trap. And that's what happened. So we chopped up, we broke the top, but and then when we got rejected here, because you can see 1, 2, 3, 4 candles, 4 daily candles playing around, I said, look, it's probably going to turn into a flat, which was what? What is a flat? Basically, it is an A, and a B, where the B wave takes out the wave, the high, right? And then you come down for C. So it's a flat, right? I was hoping that the C wave can touch the bull market support band and test it. It did not, but nonetheless, it was a beautiful fourth wave correction. This B wave was a trap, and yeah, I was right on the money with that. So what I wasn't on the money was coming down here to the bull market support band, but hey, that's okay. So now that flat was finished, and now what do we have? Well, it looks like we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, and now we're getting 5. So we're at the fifth of the fifth wave, guys. So this is in danger zone. Not for alts, for Bitcoin, right? Because if Bitcoin is topping out and it's getting ready to just be done, then that's still good for alts. Why? Because like I've been saying many times, if Bitcoin is going to stall out, it's going to go down, it's going to go up, it's going to go down, it's going to go up, and then it'll go down. So they'll be chopping. It'll be chopping around. During that chopping, that's when the alts catch up, right? So there we go. So, okay, now let's talk about what we have here on the screen. So we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we have an A, B, C. And then we have another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and another A, B, C in the middle, right? But I will take that one out because that's part of the actual wave there. So what is this? What is this whole entire thing that we see here? This whole thing is an A, B, C. This whole thing is an A, B, C, right? Because wave A is 5 waves, wave B is 3 waves, right? And then wave C also has 5 waves, but it can be an extended 5th wave if it wants, right? So at the moment, we treat it as an ABC. Now, this can turn into a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but we need that 5th wave, right? We need this 5th wave to confirm that's the case. But all we have now is a 1, 2, 3. So we have to treat it as a 3-wave move into the retracement levels. So that's the idea there. And then if that's the idea, right, if this is A, B, C, then where is C going to stop at? Well, we have to count 5 waves in C. And I think we just did that. We have a 1, 2, we have 3, 4, and now we're in 5. So now we're in the 5th wave. Okay, so we're going to zoom in even further and figure out, okay, where does the 5th wave end? And by the way, this is just one idea. I'm going to get to the other ideas. I'm starting with the bearish idea first, moving towards bullish. So let's see where this 5th wave can go. So what do we see in the 5th wave? Well, in the 5th wave, we see 5 waves. We see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so now we're going to zoom in again. We're going to go even further. Let's go to the 2-hour chart. So this is the 5 waves, right? So actually, let me zoom out again just to show you. So we have from October right here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so now we're going to zoom in on this 5 waves. And we see 5 waves. Okay, now we're going to zoom in on this 5th wave, right? So now we'll zoom in on this 5th wave. Let's go to the 15-minute chart. We'll take everything off the screen. Okay, so now we're in the 5th of the 5th. So do we count 5 waves in here? Let's see. Not quite. So we have 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's wave 3. So we're probably, maybe we go a little higher. We get an A, B, C, just like this correction in here. And then we go up again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And what is that, my friends? That is the fifth of the fifth of the fifth right there. So this whole thing would be the fifth wave. So now let me zoom out and you can see what that looks like. And you can't even really see it on here, right? So yeah, so this would be 1, 2. We're in 3. We get 4 and 5. And that fifth wave is the fifth wave of this fifth wave, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this fifth wave is the fifth wave of the ABC, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there you go. We're at the fifth of the fifth of the fifth. So be cautious here. Now, not to say it's got to dump and it's over and it's over. No, this thing can rip like nobody's business and fly to the upside. So what I mean by that is we can get another set of waves here. So this could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that whole thing would be wave 5. So then you would look at it like a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So it's subjective on how you count the subwaves, but I've seen it before where, you look like you have a clear 5 waves, but that was just the first of the fifth. So it could get a little confusing. So I'm not going to try to make it confusing. I'm just going to be simple about it and say we have an engulfing 12-hour candle. I mean, we're at 50. We made it all the way up to 50, almost $55,000. I never would have thought that. I thought we could definitely get up into the 49, 51, 52, but 55 almost, that's pretty impressive, right? So, and I think that has to happen to get people bullish, right? Because here is your major zone. This is your zone right in here. See this candle right here? So we broke above that candle, right? Well, first of all, we broke above this candle in here, and you can see all of this is resistance. We broke above. Why? Well, if it's going to be bearish, prices still break above. Why? To grab, basically there's an ocean of liquidity there, so people can take profits, right? So normally the market makers will push the price above resistance, say, hey, we broke out. It's a breakout. And then they sell it, and then it comes back down. And you can say, well, what about THETA? THETA had a breakout. Yes, that's true, but THETA had a breakout from the bottom of the range. We're getting towards the top of the range, and we're in the retracement levels, right? And it's a different circumstance. So that is the bearish idea. So and essentially the bearish idea suggests that this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ABC, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's it. And now we're going to start sideways, chop, meet up with the bull market support band, and then from there we can either continue to break out, or we can come down and backtest this area and go into reaccumulation. And that would take some time. We come down here, go into reaccumulation, and then break out, right? Or the reaccumulation can happen down here, or it can happen down here. There's a lot of different ways it can happen. Usually, I like to stick in the middle, probably between 25 and 30K. Upper part would be 37, 41K. So we don't need to talk about that because we're not even near that point yet. But so there you go. So that's the sort of the bearish idea. And the bearish idea in a nutshell, which is really not bullish, because on the macro it's actually very bullish, which is a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, breakout. That's what I've been talking about for a long time. Now, I'm starting to get a little skeptical that might happen. Why? Because we might just go sideways and continue to go. Why? Well, because, number one, look at this. We cleared the 702 retrace, which is interesting because I never thought that would happen. You know, I've been right about a lot of things throughout the channel, but I did not think that we could do that. And since we did that, I am pleasantly surprised. So I'd rather be conservative and pleasantly surprised than overly bullish and my expectations be, not met, right? So it's more healthy for your psychology when you do that. So yeah, we're above the 702. So essentially, we have one more retracement level to get, and that's the granddaddy 786. If we can get through that, then there is a highly the probability becomes high that we can have an all-time high. So we'll see if that happens. But this is what it feels like, right? When markets get like this, they feel overly bullish. You know, a lot of people are optimistic, there's bullishness in the air, but that's when you got to be like, okay, caution, 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 right? Not necessarily for alts, because if you look at Bitcoin, look how high it is. It's basically almost back to the all-time high, right? It's right, basically right up there, right? So if I were to look at, say, THETA, it's still way down here. That's why I'm more interested in THETA, right? Because if you come here, right? I mean, look at that. We still have much more to go. So if Bitcoin, pretend that this is the Bitcoin chart. This is the THETA chart, but pretend this is the Bitcoin chart. Let's say Bitcoin's up here, right? And it topped out and it goes sideways and it breaks out. Well, great. That means THETA can continue higher. Or let's say Bitcoin tops out and we go sideways. Great, then we can go higher. But then let's say Bitcoin breaks down and goes sideways. Well, before it breaks down, we would see it meet up with Bitcoin. Then they would kind of fall together, right? And then they go sideways together. And then they go, right? So that's kind of how that would happen. But for Bitcoin, I might talk about XRP too in this video. I'm not sure yet. We'll see how long this takes me. I probably maybe do a second video. Not sure. Haven't touched on that one in a bit because nothing's been happening. But it looks like it's gearing up for something. You have to know because, you know, if Bitcoin's approaching, you know, the mid 50K range, then and THETA's breaking out, total 3 is on its way. You have to wonder, you know, when does XRP go? And usually XRP likes to go last. Just ask 2018. Okay, so let's take everything off the screen and we'll try to figure out what else is happening here. Well, what could be happening here is if I zoom out, we'll talk about the zoomed out a little bit, which is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C, go. That's the ultra bearish count. Do I think that's going to happen? No. Is it possible? Yes. How is it possible? Stock market. Stock market. If we get a stock market crash, a major economic collapse, black swan, deep state event, situation for election year, cyber attack, you know, total black swan thing, we could totally get that. So just be prepared for that. And if that happens, then there's no way alts can escape that, right? I mean, it's possible, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Do I think that's going to happen? No. But do I think there's going to be some funny business going on during this election year? Absolutely. So we'll just have to wait and see on that. So another idea would be this is a 1, 2. All of this is 3. This is 4, and now we're going into 5, which means we break out into a new all-time high, probably heading towards that 100K area, thereabouts. So that would be the hope. That is my hope, is that we break out. Now, I thought that's usually not the case, but if we get something less like this, where we had a rise, crash, retrace, we came all the way down for reaccumulation, we went sideways, then go, right? Instead of that, we get something more like this, right? Where we steadily march our way up with a floor, right? With a second floor, right? With a third floor. So same thing here, 1 floor, 2 floor, and now we're working on our 3rd floor. Now that 3rd floor isn't confirmed because we're still marching it to the upside. So we don't even know where the top of the range is. And this is actually a good problem to have if we are going to be bearish or bullish, either way, because what it does is it's buying us time for altcoin holders, right? So the altcoins, they need time, not a lot of time, but they need some time to get back to the retracement level. So if Bitcoin hasn't yet ranged, like here's a good idea for a range right here. So we march up and we go into a range. So the fact that this range hasn't occurred over here yet is a good problem to have. Why? Well, because we don't know where the upper bound is and we don't know where the lower bound. This thing can go up higher, right? And then find its upper bound here, then come back down, then come back up, then come down, right? So all of this is just buying us plenty of time, which is a good thing. So what we don't really want to happen is this to get too far extended and to break out, because it could be very good, but it also could be bad, because if we do that, we could just, collapse without really having a good range, right? So we sort of want it to be steady up in here so that the alts can catch up. If it's going to break out into a new all-time high, you still want a little bit of consolidation so that you build layers of support. Like, you have a layer of like you're making a cake, right? You have how many layers? Well, the more layers you have in that cake, the higher it's going to rise, right? So you have 1 layer, 2 layer, and we broke out of this second layer, but we really haven't went sideways. We're still on that upper part of that wave here, which is that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So maybe since we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe that's it. Maybe we're starting to top, maybe sometime this week or next week, which is fine, because then we can, chill out a little bit while still remaining bullish, but then gives that opportunity for people to rotate their $55,000 Bitcoin into, a $2 or $1.50 THETA or a 60-cent XRP or what have you, right? So yeah, exciting times. I didn't think it would happen this quick. This is amazing thing to see. So yeah, we can see it's still marching up. So we wanna be cautious here, but at the same time, there's nothing to be pessimistic about, because we are nearly, we broke the 702, possibly reaching that 786. The only thing that I don't like is we have not tested the bull market support band. We broke out of it, but we never tested it. So it probably, we're probably going to test it at some point and then maybe play around in here. And during this chop is where the altcoins can magically go up. Now, if that happens, then what I want to see is Bitcoin obviously break out into a new all-time high, which then would be like a layer, and then a breakout, right? Just like back over here where we had the layer, and then a breakout. So, but if that doesn't happen and we get something like this, where we have a layer, and then just a little layer, and then we break down, then before we break down, we would chop around, and that's where alts would catch up. But then if we go down, obviously the alts would go down too. So just to paint that in a picture for HBAR, for example, if that were to happen with Bitcoin, we would probably get back up here, right? Play around here and then start coming down. and back test this area, chop around a little bit, then go new all-time high, boom. But that could take some time. That could take a good amount of time because we're in 2024. That could take, maybe a year and a half. The way I've drawn it, let's see. That could take some time if we had to come down and back test this guy here. But first, right, we come up here, 1 2 1 2 1 2. That's bullish, very bullish. So we get up 3 4 5 4 5, something like that. Play around in here, then start working our way down, then go up. It could take time. I don't know how long it would take in here. It could be short, and then we come down quick and then go fast, right? But you want some type of back testing in here before you want to go higher if Bitcoin's going to fall. Because remember, if Bitcoin falls, then that gives the alts a chance to back test their breakout levels. Because, so for example, altcoins, because if Bitcoin's going to crash after it's done chopping up here. So imagine this is Bitcoin. If Bitcoin's going to crash, or not crash, but go into reaccumulation, then we want the altcoins at that moment it starts to mark down. We want them up in their retracement levels. Why? Because now we have plenty of wiggle room to come back and back test. So we have all of this room, boom, 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 all of this room in here to then correct itself so that it can back test and continue marching higher, right? Like a cup and handle or something like that, or a W, right? So yeah, very, 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 very bullish. XRP, I'm looking at this fractal here. You can see this fractal looking very, very interesting. So you can see this spike here, flat top, waning down, mark up, right? Waning down, mark up again, waning down. This one's not waning down, it's more of a correction down, but that's because we have the SEC lawsuit. Judge Torres came at the wrong time, I think, to announce that decision, but it's okay, because it makes it more challenge, and I like a challenge. So now we're at a point, right, where we're coming to a point where it's looking very interesting. So something like that, right? So, it might take another couple months. The fractal might be totally off. So, XRP is one of those coins that it could be a total miss, or it can be a huge success, because as you know, XRP does not take that much time. I mean, it doesn't have these slow organic moves like Bitcoin and others. It just goes in a straight up line, pretty much, or so we've learned. So we could be at that point, right? Now you could say, well, yeah, but that's only going to happen if Bitcoin can break out into a new all-time high. Yeah, you might be totally correct. And that might be the case, that Bitcoin has to do that. But if Bitcoin doesn't, then at least XRP can get into another retracement, because that was my son there. He's playing on his game. But anyway, we can have a retracement a little higher, right? So and always understand that XRP did not break its new all-time high. Instead, where did we go? We didn't even hit the 618, right? Let alone the 702 or the 786. Where is Bitcoin at? Bitcoin is at its 702, surpassing it. So if Bitcoin can get past its 702, then, or can XRP at least get back to its 618 at $2? Yes. I think XRP can get to $2 without Bitcoin having to go into a new all-time high. Why? Because it didn't get to its 618 here. let alone the 702. Bitcoin is passing the 702. But here's even the more interesting part. Bitcoin is doing that on its next cycle. Remember, XRP is still at its other cycle. Basically, the 2017 through 2020 cycle. So Bitcoin is ahead one cycle, right? Because Bitcoin broke out into a new all-time high while XRP did not. And that was a disaster then, but it was a blessing in disguise now. Why? Because it has officially created the world's largest crypto base on planet Earth. There is no other coin out there that has a bigger base. Obviously, XLM, right? But it's following. But as far as a top 10 long one that's been around the block since the very beginning, right? There's no other coin like it. And then also, what's really interesting with XRP is it already completed its retracement, right? And now it's already in reaccumulation. So it has a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation sideways. And that's usually the big breakout area, right? So the question is, are we going to have a big breakout, or are we going to have a retracement back up to this area, like a double top, right? In which case, if that happens, then you can start to see a cup right in here. And then we come down for a handle and we meet up right here. So a cup and handle. And if we did that, so what I'm saying is, if Bitcoin, stalls out around here, around where it's at now, and starts to chop sideways above the 702 retrace, it would give XRP the opportunity. Doesn't mean it has to happen. Remember, this is not financial advice. I could be totally dead wrong. Always know that. But it gives XRP the opportunity and the chance to get back into its 702, or if not, at least the 618, right? So if it can get to the 618, then it would complete this sort of cup and handle phase. So then all it would have to do is break above that $1.60, $1.70 area, and boom, you're off to the races in a magical, instantaneous type of situation. And you can say, well, then how does it break if Bitcoin's not at an all-time high? I don't know. We'll have to find out and see. But I'll tell you what, if Bitcoin, or if XRP gets back into its retracement of its 2018 bear market, then it's going to be interesting. Because you have to understand, XRP is in a different situation than all the other coins. So we don't really know. But at the same time, I think it's in the best situation because it hasn't broken this top yet. All the other coins have, except XRP, XLM, and a few others. But XRP, being the main one, has not broke above its 2018 all-time high. So that's the equivalent of XRP being, I'll tell you right now where XRP is. So it's in between the 382 and the 0. So right about there. Okay, so if we go to Bitcoin, let's see where it's at. So XRP is like being way down here, right? So if I pull the retracement from here all the way down, yep, look at that, right between the 382. So right there. Yeah, I actually hit it right on the money. So where is that at right about? That's about $7,000 Bitcoin. So think about that for a second. Imagine Bitcoin was $7,000. Everybody would be like jumping up and down, raging accumulation. So, okay, well, XRP is the equivalent of Bitcoin being at $7,000, which means what? Which means it has what? Rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, breakout, and it's in this level, right? So going back to XRP, same thing, but way, 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 way bigger, So same thing, right? Rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, just waiting for that breakout. We're in between the 382 and the 0. Go back to Bitcoin real quick. Same thing, but way down here. In between the 382 and the 0. Rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation. So XRP is like doing this sideways action to where Bitcoin. That's why I'm not interested in Bitcoin. That's why I'm only interested in certain coins that have my qualifications for my investment. And that is XRP. I had to wait a long time, but I think it's still going to be worth it, right? Because for me, holding XRP back over here, I thought, okay, it's going to go with the rest of the market. It did not. Why? People blame the lawsuit, but I don't really think that's all of the reason why. I think XRP was doing something nobody could see back then, which was like pretend of, like you're in a Rocky movie and you have one guy or just whatever movie who's working out and in the gym all the time, right? And everybody else is out having a good time, and XRP is working out in the gym, working, right? And then now when he eventually goes outside, he's going to have a much bigger time because he's got bigger muscles, right? So bad example, sorry, but that's what I got. So yeah, so we'll see how this plays out. So you guys know where I stand on that. So let me zoom in here and talk about what I think could potentially happen here. And a lot of it has to do with the fractal that we've seen back over here, right? Now, if you follow guys like Blockchain Backer, they don't really show this fractal anymore. I have no idea why. I think it's more accurate than showing this fractal, although I really do like this fractal. I think two of them having confluence with each other to where we are now is a really good situation. And so yeah, I think we're in a really good situation. But if I were to like draw this channel here, something like this, right? You can see we're at the bottom of the channel and we bounced off. And then we're also I wish we were above the bull market support band, but we are below it. And we are testing it as resistance. But I think because we had this up, chop, you can't really go with the bull market support band too much because it's sort of in a chop zone where it's sort of, it's above it, below it, above it, below it, above it, below it, right? And this big spike right here sort of threw off the geometry of it, but it's okay because if we look back over here, we can see the same thing that happened, which is what? A rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation. We have our channel in here, right? And look what happened. We actually broke below the channel. We grabbed all this liquidity that was resting below to give us that big spike. So, if I zoom out here, same thing. Boom, 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 boom. Right? We can get this area here. So look at this. And now look at this. Doesn't it look very similar, but just so much bigger? Well, that should give you a good indicator of where we are, which is really close. So think about this for a second. How is it possible that Bitcoin is at above its 702? It's at the height of the retracement levels, the best thing we could possibly ask for. At the same time, XRP is in a position where when you look back in time, it's literally right at that apex point before either a big dip to the downside, then a quick recovery, or just a quick recovery and a big breakout. So it's very interesting that Bitcoin is at its 702 area, while at the same time XRP is at its sort of area of its last point of reaccumulation, right? And the way we can sort of measure that is with an Elliott wave contracting triangle. So we have an A, B, C, D, and E, right? Maybe E's not finished yet. Maybe because every wave you need 3 waves, right? You have 1, 2, 3. That's 3. You have 1, 2, 3. That's 3. You have 1, 2, 3. That's 3. So you have 1, 2, and maybe we come down a little bit more. We take out all this liquidity below 42 cents, right? We have a big flash crash, maybe a liquidity grab, then bam, we break out to the upside. Hopefully that doesn't happen, because that would kind of screw up my trade that I'm in right now. But if it happens, I'll probably just add to it, so no big deal. Definitely be skeptical, cautious. Don't use a lot of leverage if you're trading, even if you think that it's gotta be for sure, because a lot of times when everybody's bullish on the same page, then markets can be over leveraged, and then even though the supply is, people are buying, it can still sort of crash the price, because the market has to unwind, it has to deleverage itself, because there's so many bets on one position. So always keep that in mind. You may be correct in your trade, but if everybody sees that and everybody's going with it, then it can kind of screw it up. Now, luckily for us, a lot of people are focusing on Bitcoin, so the alts have much more leeway, if you would. So they have a lot of, and especially XRP, because like I said, XRP is the equivalent of Bitcoin being at what, 7, 8, 9,000 area. So plus it has all the support here, right? All in here. We need to get above 130. If my whole thing is getting above 130. If we can get above 131, here's the thing. If we can get a weekly candle close above $1.31, that's all I'm asking, then you're going to see me totally change my tune on what I think is what I think is really going on here. Because if you pull this retracement, right? So the retrace of the retrace, we're between the 382 and the 0, right? On this retracement. If you pull this retracement from here down to here, same kind of thing. We're in like no man's land. We're not even near the retracement levels. So, and where's the 618? Look at that, right at a 131. So my big thing would be 131 and $1.45. So, I'd just say between 130 and 150 is a really good area for a weekly candle to close above. If we can get that, man, it would be just the best thing ever for the XRP community, because nobody deserves it more than we do, especially for the amount of hell and torture we've been. I mean, look at this. We're the only people that have been holding coins longer for 6 years, right? So it's been a long time. So yeah, we'll see. So as far as the short-term analysis, like I've been thinking here, this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C, then we can go, or some type of flat, then we can go. Another thing would be this was an ascending triangle right here, right? And we essentially broke out. So you can see the triangle here. We broke out, and then we came back down, and now we're sort of back under it. So what I would probably do is just readjust it a little bit, and say from here up to there, right? And something like that, right? So it was a fake out. We came back down, you know, continued going in a retracement, come back down. So now we're sort of, you know, we're at that make it or break it point. So if we do break the line, it would still be bullish. We come down here, we break the line, then we go. Why? Why is that would be bullish? Because that's what happened here. That's exactly what happened here. Look at this. Here's the line right here. We broke the line right there. So if that happens, it's not the end of the world. If it doesn't happen, hopefully it doesn't happen, right? We'll see. We'll see what happens. A lot of times the altcoins will move, like many different coins. Pick a coin. It's going pump, 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 pump. Bitcoin's pumping. But then XRP is doing nothing. What do people do? They sell their XRP to go chase something that's already up 80%. And then what happens? We have a supply influx with XRP. XRP dumps. But then it was a liquidity trap for an instant move to the upside. So don't chase coins. Just if you're invested in XRP, not financial advice, for me, it's the best thing to do is stay planted. If I can go back and replay my life, it would just to stay planted. Don't jump around, because when I jumped around back in 2018 and 19, I kind of got screwed up. So, and even before that too, and even sometimes after that, I made a big mistake selling. I think it was Filecoin, and I jumped into. I can't remember which one it was, but I jumped in and it was a big mistake. I shouldn't have done that. So if I would have just stayed planted, because usually your first instinct is the correct one on certain things, right? So trust your gut. Don't trust your emotions. So yeah, I was going to do a Bitcoin video, but it turned into a hybrid of XRP. But if I had to make a big guess for XRP, it would just be, let me actually zoom in here to the 12-hour chart. So what I like about the short term is we're still consistently making higher lows. So low, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, right? So we're doing good on that. We're in this zone right here that looks like it came down. It entered that zone and it's quickly, leaving that zone, hopefully, right? Or in other words, back testing this zone in here. So maybe we get a little pullback and then a continuation, like a little cup and handle, continue higher. So I'm really rooting for XRP, not just for me, but a lot of people that I know that are in this coin. So I would actually draw a line. You could draw a line right there, right? You can even draw one from here down here, right? We're right at that level. So we're, I think that would be the best one right there. So we're right there. Here's another line here, something like that, right? So we're just sort of coiling in here. Let's see, this demand line and this supply line. Let's see what happens there. I'm not really a big total trend line guy, because trends are meant to be broken, but they are very important because you can start to see where resistance come in and where certain areas need to be broke or held. So I do like the fact also that we have 1, 2, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that could turn into what? Like an A, B, C, or maybe we come up again 1, 2. This is 3, 4, and then we get 5. Then we go. So I'm a little conflicted here. It's XRP is definitely challenging, not gonna lie, but we'll just have to wait and see on that. But when in doubt, just zoom out and look at the important thing here, and that is some type of massive bullish pennant here, right? So this can just waiting for that moment. So going back to Bitcoin, Theta, I mean, just look at Theta real quick first. We have an engulfing monthly candle, and the candle's going to end in 3 days. So if we get that breakout, maybe we get a little consolidation, continue up, because I'm thinking a retracement is definitely likely for Theta. But you can see how Theta is so much more easy to read than XRP. It's more organic and it's easy. It's not all like a jigsaw puzzle, right? But sometimes the hardest puzzles give you the best rewards. So think about that too. Let's see. Okay, so Bitcoin, you know, we have an engulfing monthly candle. I mean, wow. If you look at the monthly chart, we have an engulfing candle. Let's see what the sequential is on the monthly. We're only on a 5 on the monthly. So we'll see if how the month ends, but it's a good thing because we only have 3 days left. I think this year is a leap year too, right? So we'll have the 29th, and then once that month ends, you know, hopefully we have some follow through. But what's more likely to happen, because look at this, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 green monthly candles in a row. So, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's quite a bit. So I would expect at some point some consolidation, kind of like we had here, kind of like we have here, and now we'll get another one here. So something like this here, sideways, breakout, and then maybe sideways again. So your guess is as good as mine. Now, like I've been saying, I'll just recap real quick. This can easily just continue breaking out. Great, that happens, perfect. If not, then we pull back, we consolidate in here, alts catch up. Then once they're both at the same area, then they can decide up or back down. If they go back down, then we go back into reaccumulation. It is what it is. At least our portfolios get a major relief, because a lot of portfolios are down here. Unless you're holding primarily Bitcoin, then yours is up here, right? So, yeah, so those are the 2 ideas, or actually 3. You know, can pull back a little bit, continue higher, or consolidate up here, go down, go sideways, continue higher, right? So it's really only 2 ideas I can see happening. I guess the third would be consolidate a lot and then continue higher, consolidate, continue higher, consolidate, continue higher, right? So we'll see how it goes. This is a good thing. This is not a bad thing. It is a little concerning because we have so many in a row, but hey, maybe it's just getting primed for a big breakout. And you know, when FOMO takes over and the mainstream media pumps it out, and JP Morgan and the ETF, right? I'm a big guy on the ETF. I don't think it's a good thing, but I do like the fact that it is gaining popularity. I don't want an ETF. I want real regulation, because an ETF is just security. People go, oh, crypto's not a security, or Bitcoin's not a security. But then the Bitcoin maxis jump up and down for an ETF, but they don't realize that an ETF is just a repackaged security. So it's like, okay, well, but I don't really care. I just want it to, I want people to buy Bitcoin, because if we break out of here and we go and we reach an area and then people rotate, then we have a lot of liquidity to catch up on, and that would be amazing for us altcoin holders. So I'll leave you with that. Thank you guys. Appreciate you guys. I think this is I did 2 videos yesterday, and I did 2 videos today. So that's pretty good on a roll here. So we'll stop it here, and I'll see what's happening in the markets tomorrow. Maybe, like I said, I'll do a rapid fire. If you want to be in the rapid fire, maybe drop your comment below and I'll add it to the list. of rapid fire coins. So we'll go through and see where it is in the phases and what we can expect. Okay. So yeah, if you guys could, that'd be awesome. If you can leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and drop a comment, it'd be amazing for a channel like mine. I appreciate you guys a lot. Never thought I can get to 1,000 subscribers. You know, it's interesting psychologically, because when I look at videos, and I go, oh, this video has 15,000 views, you know. And it's kind of low, right? But then, you look at another that's 30,000 views. Well, yeah, it is low, but it's actually, it's different when you're doing it yourself. It's actually a lot of views, right? So it's all perspective. Like if Gordon Ramsay puts out a video, you expect that to be a high number, right? Or if a known YouTuber puts out, you expect it to be a high number. But I like to use a ratio, right? So if, for example, if I have 1,000 subscribers and I get 1,000 views, that's a 1-to-1 ratio. That's amazing. That's amazing for I think, So for example, if you have 100,000 subscribers, but you're only getting 20,000 views, then you have less than 20% of a ratio, right? So you see what I'm kind of saying there? So the ratio between subscribers and views, it doesn't matter if you're getting millions of views or thousands of views. I mean, it does, but what really matters is the ratio between subscribers and views. And over time, right, the more subscribers you get, the less ratio you will get. I think that's how it works. So we'll see, but nonetheless, I am definitely grateful that people are following along, because for me, I'm watching different channels just like you, trying to figure out where we are, and I'm thinking, well, if I start doing a channel, what kind of value could I add? Because everybody's spitting out almost similar things. If I'm just another channel, what type of value could I bring? So I think, I'm bringing a different type of lane to the perspective that we all are used to, and got some reaction off it. So I'm going to use that momentum and continue with it, and definitely grateful all the way. So let's go. Thank you guys. I will catch you on the next one. Cheers.